Hey guys, I'm Chantel. Welcome to Intentional Homeschooling. Today I have my daughter Reka here to talk about some of her favorite books, favorite books in general, right?
Yeah.
Over the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
We did a book video about a year and a half, sharing all the books that you had read in like 2 months. There was like 40 some books, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Ever since then, people keep requesting for you to come back on and share more book ideas. So apparently they don't trust me to say which books you're enjoying. They want to hear from you which books you're enjoying. So are we going in any particular order here?
I don't think it really matters.
We have 2 huge stacks. We will talk about them briefly.
Okay.
Pick a stack to start. I'll be your book holder. Okay, so this first book is The Wednesday Wars. This is one of my favorite middle grade books. It is set during the Vietnam War. Our main character is a boy named Hauling Hood, which is just one of my favorite names for a character. Mm-hmm. And he is in 7th grade, struggling a bit with his teacher, and yeah, I don't know, there's themes of Shakespeare and friendship and then the war, and it's funny, but it's like also touching. What do you like about it?
I liked how it was very much a laugh out loud kind of book.
The audiobook is excellent.
Oh yeah, perfect.
Yeah.
It's like yeah, I don't
You just laughed out loud?
Yes.
There's some funny quotes. There's definitely rats in the ceiling of the classroom, and
which was gross where I was while I was listening to it. So.
Where were you while you were listening to it?
Well, there were just ceiling tiles above me, so I kept looking up.
Worried that the rats are gonna fall through.
Yeah.
Yes, and then it has a companion novel called
Okay for Now.
Okay for Now. That is also really good, but I recommend reading this one first, because otherwise you'll feel sympathetic towards like the bully in this book, and that's not fun.
No.
And then that one has a companion novel called Just Like That I would recommend just skipping altogether.
Yeah.
Don't read that one. Yeah, so that's the first one. Keep going on the stack. Next one is Furthermore.
It's been a while since I've actually read it, but I really enjoy it.
So this is middle grade fantasy, and then it has a companion novel called, what's it called? Wow.
Winter...
Witchwood.
Witchwood, oh.
Yeah, wow.
Okay.
Totally blanking. And that one, like, they're different. They're very,
Oh, yes.
they're kind of strange,
Yeah.
but entertaining.
Yes.
So in this one, our main character, she has no color in a world of lots of color.
Lots of color, like, yeah.
I only read this one once, and it was a long time ago already. What do you like about it?
Well, first there's like these like I'm not exactly sure what they're called, but they're
Oh, it's very creative little breaks to the book.
yeah, they're like the kind of one. There's some of them that just like you can't stop reading, you just have to continue because they're like cliffhangers, pretty much.
Yep. Oh yes. So it starts out and so it begins. That's right. It's been a long time since I read this one.
The narrator is also really good on that one.
So it's good on audio as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, one of your recent favorites, The Wishmakers. This is another like just weird book. It's where the main character opens a peanut butter jar and a genie pops out. Yeah. And every wish, so the genie can give you unlimited wishes, but each wish has a consequence.
Yes.
So you decide ahead of time. You say, I want to wish this, and you find out the consequence, and you decide, am I willing to take that consequence on for this wish? And then he, the main character, what's his name?
Ace, I think.
Ace. He has to, when the genie comes out, he has to try to save the world by stopping someone, I think is the plan. And what do you like about it?
Well, first of all, of course, I like the name, like the Andersons' names.
Okay, so yes, there are these characters that he has to go see, and their names are Thackeray Anderson
and
yeah,
Jathan Anderson.
and Jathan Anderson, but it's not a lisp. That's what their names are actually. So there was a while after reading this book that I couldn't think of people named Jason without thinking Jathan.
Yeah.
So yeah, and some of the consequences are pretty funny. Like the one time he chooses to go without his left arm, like his left arm falls off for an entire day.
Yeah.
And yeah, interesting.
I think like it can pretty much be read like for all ages, but book 2, like the ending, it feels a lot more like other fantasy middle grade books do.
Okay, I didn't read book 2.
With a huge spoiler. I mean, not a spoiler, a huge
Cliffhanger at the end of book 2?
Well, not really. Like, there's a large cliffhanger, and you don't know what's going on, and then it's very confusingly works its way out.
Sounds good. Okay, now let's go into historical fiction. Until Tomorrow, Mr. Marsworth. This one is an epistolary novel set during the Vietnam War. Our main character and her brothers and her dad have just moved to this town, and she gets a paper route. And she has this grumpy old man on her paper route named Mr. Marsworth, who she starts writing letters to.
Yeah. It at first was like, this is really good, and I don't know where it's going in a good way. And then, like, it just kind of, like, worked its way out, and it was very interesting.
Yeah. I feel like there was maybe a little bit long, like, partway through. The halfway mark to, like, the three-quarter way mark, I'm like, where is this book going? It's kind of going on forever. But then, like, the ending was like, oh, yeah, that's where it's going.
Yeah. Like, maybe some of it didn't have to happen, but, like...
Well, and I didn't realize where it was going, so I thought that didn't have to be in there, but it did.
But it did. It did.
Yeah. So this was a good one. Next up, another fantasy. There's a bit of a theme here. Bliss. So this is a trilogy. Is there more books, or is it just a trilogy?
There are 3 books.
Yeah.
I think that's it. And it's been a while since I've read it.
It's about a magical bakery, and all the characters are named after spices. There's rosemary, thyme, sage, parsley? Is there parsley?
Yes, because everyone just calls her Lee, so it's hard to remember. Have you read this one?
I started it.
Oh,
I didn't get very far.
And then I started it, and then I actually only finished it a couple years ago.
To me, it felt like a middle grade book that you would enjoy, but not necessarily that I would enjoy.
Yeah. It's really good. I like the recipes in the cookbook.
But you like the whole series?
Yes. I actually think I might like one of the, either book 2 or book 3, I can't remember, better than I like this one. Which is good, because sometimes it goes down.
Yeah, sometimes it does, that's for sure. Another historical fiction, Esperanza Rising. So this one is set in Mexico. Our main character, they immigrate to the States. They flee to California, and they settle into a camp for Mexican farm workers.
I like doing this one on audio because there's a few like Spanish words, and then I know how to pronounce them.
Yep.
And it's nice to know how to pronounce things. Yeah, I really like the character progression, because it's really not nice character in the beginning of the book, but it gets better.
Yep. Sounds good. You have loved this one ever since the first time you read it, right? And it has a good author's note, right? Because this was based off of her grandma.
Yeah, I think so.
Or at least inspired. So her grandmother's name was Esperanza, and she was the inspiration for this book. Yeah. So that's why it's fun.
Yeah.
New-ish series to you.
To me. Yes.
Dead City. So this is a zombie story. I'm actually curious to read this one. But I haven't read it. So all I know is it's a zombie story of sorts.
I think it would be creepy if it wasn't so funny. Like, at first I wasn't sure if I should be reading it at night, but then it's like, oh, well, it's hilarious, so it doesn't really matter.
So your main character, tell me about your main charter, what happens
Well,
here?
her name is Molly Bigelow, and her mom worked at a morgue. So pretty much Molly grew up going to the morgue with her mom.
Family outing.
And she loves it. She loves it.
Okay.
And then,
we're not going to do that.
A few years later, her mom died from cancer, but then it kind of starts to seem like it might not actually have been from cancer.
Okay.
And then she goes into this subway tunnel, and a zombie comes and attacks her. But yeah.
Cool. I'm actually kind of curious to read it.
Yes, you should.
So don't tell me too much.
No, I won't.
Now, Book Scavenger. This is a 3-book series as well, where in the world there is a book scavenger game where people just hide books and post clues online, and then people have to solve the clues to find the books. Right? I've only read the first book in the series.
Oh, I did all 3. I do think the first one was the best. I really liked her brother.
Okay.
Matthew.
Main character's name is Emily. It's been a long time since.
Yeah, and then there's her friend James, and yeah.
And they have to solve like a big mystery with puzzles and clues and
yeah. So there's lots of different kinds of puzzles.
Yeah, that's a fun one. Okay, The Hobbit. You know you have a nerdy child when The Hobbit is on her list of favorites. I've only read this once, and it was when I was in high school.
Really?
Confession time. How many times have you read it?
At least like 10 or 20 times. It's kind of short.
10 or 20 times. Kind of short. Yes, we have this really cool illustrated version that I just got her for her birthday. I should have mentioned your age at the beginning. I don't think I did. Reka just turned 12. So if you are looking for book recommendations for kids about that age, yeah, probably should have said that at the beginning. Oh well. The Hobbit. I feel like everyone knows the general storyline of The Hobbit. What do you like about it?
Okay, I like the songs. I really like the songs.
You're a weird child.
I can't remember, but the one narrator who did this book possibly had actually sung the songs.
Oh yeah.
Which always makes it a million times better, unless they fail doing it.
Yeah, unless they're terrible at singing.
Yeah.
You don't want me narrating songs? Singing the songs. No. Yeah, okay. And you also like The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I do. It's just been a longer amount of time. Well, I haven't done those as much.
Yeah. Okay, another fantasy series. Wow, how many? Lots of fantasy series. Wing Feather Saga. This is a 4-book series that is about, oh man, set in a world where there are these like fangs, which are these crocodiles that walk that are not the good guys. And we have our 3 main characters whose names, now it's been a while, Janner, Tink, and Lily. So 2 boys and a girl. And they are seeking the jewels of Anira. And, okay, but my favorite part of this book, you can tell me your favorite. Like, this isn't my favorite part. But Andrew Peterson draws pictures, and one of the scary creatures in here is called a toothy cow. So that's pretty awesome. This book is serious and hilarious at the same time.
Yeah, in a good way.
Yeah.
A really good way.
What do you like about it?
It depends if you're talking about the series or this in particular book.
Let's say this particular book.
Okay. This particular book, it's been a longer amount. This was one I want to read again book. So
we listened to the series the first time as a family. That was the first time any of us had read it. And then you've read it since then? Yeah, so it's, I highly recommend reading it or listening to it together as a family.
The footnotes.
Oh, the footnotes.
I like the footnotes.
Forgot about the footnotes. So there's random footnotes with like extra information that are hilarious. Sometimes like they'll mention like a snot wax candle, and then there'll be a footnote about snot wax candles. And
and I like Oscar and Reteep and all his quotes.
Yeah, like some of the footnotes, I mean, this is like an average length of a footnote. Some of them are like really long with background information referencing different books that don't exist in real life but exist in this world. It's pretty funny. Okay. Another fantasy series, Keeper of the Lost Cities.
Yes.
Book 9 is just about to come out. A fantasy series about a girl who is a telepath and realizes at the beginning of the first book that she's actually an elf from a different world, and that's why she's a telepath.
I liked
So it's got Harry Potter vibes.
Yes, definitely like Harry Potter vibes. I like how sometimes she will say like things will pop into Sophie's mind like little Lord of the Rings quotes or whatever, or there's sometimes even like a Sherlock Holmes quote. But I think like the first book is the best as most series, and this one it doesn't actually have too much happening.
I don't remember like from what happens in one book to another.
Yeah.
But the audiobook narrator is so good.
So good. And she gets even better through the next audiobooks.
Yeah, well, yeah. It's been a while now since I read
I'm
the
just
last book.
doing them right now, so.
We have pre-ordered book 9 on audio. And we have like trying to schedule out who's going to listen to it first and when, and
yeah.
Because otherwise we're going to all be fighting over it.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one. A series of unfortunate events. This is like a book that in some ways is like so creepy. Should kids be reading this? But then it's also like so funny.
Yeah.
That it's obviously made for kids.
Yeah.
It's one of those weird series.
It's really weird.
We started by listening to it together. And I think we listened to like the first 3 or 4 books together, and then you went off on your own and finished it.
I think I'm the only one who's done that so far in their family, right?
Yeah, so it's about three siblings?
Yes.
Who become orphans, and pretty much I think in every book they go live with like a new family member, and I don't even know where it goes. Like I need to finish the series myself, I guess. what can you say about the first book that doesn't give spoilers for the rest?
Okay, that's hard.
Yeah.
The first book, it's pretty much they just go and live with this guy named Count Olaf.
That's right.
And he's kind of this creepy person who's always having these really strange people over.
Yeah, now I'm remembering what happens in the first book.
Yes, and he's not a great guardian or whatever, so they're kind of trying to like escape and stuff. But he's the kind of bad guy that's also a genius. So it's yeah.
Another thing I really like, I enjoy middle grade books specifically when the narrator talks to the reader. And this one starts out really well. It says, if you are interested in stories with happy endings, you would be better off reading some other book. In this book, not only is there no happy ending, there is no happy beginning, and very few happy things in the middle. And I won't read more, but I enjoy the narrator in the books.
Yeah.
Okay, now we are on to a totally different genre. High school graphic novels. This one is Smile by Raina Telgemeier.
I don't know how to say it. I've been like reading it for so much, but
I don't even know what this is about. Raina Telgemeier writes graphic novels based off of her childhood. So this one is about her getting braces.
Kind of, but mostly it, so when she was like 10 years old, she tripped and fell and her front two teeth, adult teeth, came out. One of them came out, one of them was poked up.
Oh, that definitely hurts my teeth.
Yeah, so pretty much in like 4 years, she had to get them like braces 3 times, headgear, and a bunch of other things to try to pull them down because they were like high up.
Ouch, I'm gonna walk everywhere from now on. Okay,
Careful.
so that's that one. But then you also have her book Guts on here as well.
Yes.
So once again, story from her childhood. This one is more geared towards anxiety.
Yes, like, yeah. This one, I think, is my favorite book in the series. It's more applicable, I think.
You carry this one around with you pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
And you find it's one that like lowers your anxiety,
Yes.
right? Reading through it
Yeah.
helps you feel better.
Yeah. I think it's kind of cool with the 3 books that she has written, but it is kind of confusing because they're not in order at all.
Oh yeah.
So like of how things have happened, like pretty much in Smile. This one happened before Smile, and Sisters happened during Smile. So it's
it's very confusing.
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
3 more.
Okay. 2. Oh wait, let's do the one. Okay, there's one we don't have a copy of because or else I'll forget that one.
Okay.
Words on Fire. Wait a minute, you put Words on Fire on here, but not The False Prince?
Oh, well, Words on Fire is less talked about anyway.
Okay,
So.
Words on Fire by Jennifer A. Nielsen. It's historical fiction. I don't remember when it's set, but there's like war going on, I think in Lithuania?
Yeah, that's
And they're trying to, whoever was invading was trying to ban all the books. It's been a few years since I read that one. We don't own that one, but it was really good. What did you like about it?
It's almost like, it's so fascinating to see what people did when they couldn't get a hold of books and stuff.
Oh.
How they like would smuggle the books out and stuff. Like, it's very fascinating. And like, I think if you like The False Prince, even though they're very different, you would like Words on Fire too, because all of her characters kind of have the same
personality,
feel,
like
personality.
a little bit spunky.
Yeah, like Scourge and all the other.
Yeah. Pretty much we recommend any Jennifer A. Nielsen book that we've read.
Yeah.
So the False Prince series. Scourge is another underrated one that no one ever talks about.
And it's awesome.
It is. So bonus recommendations there. Okay. I'm not sure if you've heard of this book before. It's called Harry Potter. I don't think I need to say anything about it. People know the general idea.
Yeah.
What do you like about Harry Potter?
Okay, well the first book in particular I think is good. The idea is so fascinating and stuff, and even though it seems like kind of a normal idea now, because I feel like a lot of people have read it, I feel like there's not very many books before this book was written that are like it.
Yeah, and now since reading this, you've got like Amari and the Night Brothers to me, which feels like this, A Keeper of the Lost Cities. I don't know if I can't think of any other ones off the top of my head, but yeah, like I feel like there's some books that have been greatly inspired by Harry Potter.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, last one. Wonder. Oh, so this is about a boy that has some kind of facial deformity. I don't remember. So he's been homeschooled until grade, do you know what grade it was? 5. And then grade 5 he goes to public school, and it's his struggles with friendship and successes with friendship.
Mm-hmm. I think something fascinating is I like this book a lot, and then I read Augie and Me, which is not a second book. It's a mashup of 3 different short stories published as ebooks she wrote after this book. So none of them are like, Augie is never the main character. In fact, in some of them, Augie's only mentioned a few times. But the main characters are actually Julian, so if you've read this book.
Like the bad kid, the mean kid.
Mm-hmm. That one was fascinating because she had an author's note that people were publishing all over social media stuff like, be nice, don't be Julian, or whatever. And she didn't write Julian to be a bad character. She wrote Julian as like this is what Augie's probably going through.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he had character growth too throughout the story.
Oh, so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's also Christopher, which was Augie's friend before this book took place.
Okay.
And finally there is Charlotte, who she's not a main character in these books, but she is like a steady.
She's like a side friend kind of thing. Like, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So that was like a bonus recommendation to Wonder.
Yes.
So this was a bunch of books plus a bunch of bonus recommendations. So those are some of your favorite books right now that you've read in the last few years. Give her some recommendations if you have kids that have enjoyed these. What do you think she would enjoy? Definitely leans towards fantasy, and like historical fiction has been like a new recent
It's getting
favorite.
more.
But yeah, heavy on the fantasy for sure.
Yeah.
So thanks so much for being here, guys. I hope this list helps you out.